Hi. Yeah, there's three of us here. We're gonna do we're gonna do some music stuff today. So I brought my lovely wife in with us because she's smarter than everybody.
You're so sweet.
Thank you.
I'll pay you back later.
Podcasting. Oh yeah, we're on live. but no, we thought we'd do something fun today. Do some what we consider rock and roll music. We're going to start with the greatest decade of all, the 70s.
70s.
I'll do what I can.
Cut.
Not big.
So anyway, I brought these two youngsters with me to do the 70s. We're going to check it out here. Come on back in. We'll do this right now. And welcome back to the Midnight Rider podcast. I'm Johnny.
I'm Chuck.
I'm Tina.
Aww, that sounds really nice. Lighting's good too. We all look really, really good.
Thanks, babe.
I like the earrings. Anyway, we thought we'd bring in another guest star with us this week. We're going to do rock. I told these two, I said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go 1970s, and we're going to get our top 15, what we consider rock albums.
What we consider rock albums.
Well, it's subjective. I mean, everybody's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, so we can't use those people because, then I have to get a Dolly Parton.
Never even looked at it.
Which,
doesn't matter.
So, no, it's not rock. But anyway, we're going to go with what we consider classic rock, which would be classic rock of the 70s. So if you have any local classic rock, well, no, can't do that anyway because they say Motley Crue is classic rock now.
Yeah,
We're not talking about Motley Crue yet.
No,
that's the next one.
That's 80s.
We're talking about 70s. 70s, the year of awesome, the years of awesome. So any album that was released from 1970 to 1979 is available for this list. And usually on our list, we usually go from, say, like 15 down to 1 or 10 down to 1. We're going to go from 1 to 15.
So we're going to go our favorites all the way down.
The best,
Okay.
what we consider,
Right.
whatever you used as your, I gotta turn that back a little bit. Whatever you considered to use as your gauge as to what you thought was the best album. I personally took the ones I listened to most. So
That's the only thing I had to go on because I'm not as old as y'all are. So I had to go with what I had, what I heard from y'all.
He's not that much younger.
Yeah, than me.
I mean, come on. What were you?
That was more of a shot at him than you.
Thank you.
Shots at me all the time.
Well, you are brothers.
I am old. So here we go. Let's start with our number one best rock album that we feel is, and who wants to go first and give us our first one?
We'll start with our guest. Go for
I'll
it.
go first.
Okay.
Go first.
You might want to lean in a little bit so we can hear you.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right. I have for my number one
Here it comes.
pick,
Yes.
Bat Out of Hell by Meatloaf.
And see, we did this so I could be sure to say, yeah, I got that one too, but that ain't my number one.
Well,
You
that's
know
my
what?
number
What?
one.
That's my number one. Yep.
All right.
Right off the bat.
All
Great
right.
album.
That is actually my number two.
Number two.
That's my number
5
two.
or 6
Okay.
great songs. One of my favorite songs, Paradise. It was mine by a long shot.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, no,
I have one more.
it wasn't
top two.
part of my by a long shot for me. But okay, you gave. What do you got, hon? Why?
For what?
Why is it number one?
Why is it number one?
Why is it
Because
number
every song on it is awesome. And you want to listen to the entire album, CD, whatever you want to call it, every time you listen to it.
Yeah.
If you just have to pick one song, of course, Paradise by the Dashboard Lights. But,
Absolutely.
you want to listen to it from the beginning to the end. And, it's awesome. I mean, you just can't beat it.
Everything about it.
That's why it's my number one.
It's a rock and roll opera. I mean, if you've never listened to the album, my gosh, you're missing the world.
Every song is a show.
Yes.
Every song's incredible. Every song just means it just sounds so good. Here, trade me microphones.
Why? Can't you hear me?
There we go.
Well, I think yours is a little less potent than mine. So,
I can get another pillow if I need it.
oh, there you go. Yeah, it's just a fantastic album. Probably, you can't go wrong with it.
No.
You can't. You really can't go wrong with it. It's just that good. Um, I mean, Jim Steinham wrote the thing. He, of course, if you watch all the behind the scenes stuff on it, there was a lot of problems in there.
Definitely.
A lot of problems in there, but
It came out perfect. That's what matters.
Yeah.
that's true. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's just incredibly
Any
awesome.
genre, any year, that's one of my favorite albums all
Yeah.
time, without a doubt.
All right, so that was your number one.
That was my number one.
Well, I'll just
Kinda
give my number one
Kind of
then.
anticlimactic, but okay.
Yeah, well, my number one album of the '70s was Queen, Night at the Opera.
I'm not surprised.
Night at the Opera.
They're on my list.
That
They're on my list, but not at number one.
I have Night at the Opera on my list
Where?
as well. Let's see, where is it? You're going to be upset with me. It's number 10.
And see, it's number 8 on mine. So
What
there
the
you go.
hell, people?
There you go.
It's the most impressive album of the set. There's no, I mean, I got to bring it back down again.
Sorry.
More operatic. Should I say more? The music on it's just every song is a little bit different. Every song has got a little bit of something to it. You got, of course, you have Bohemian Rhapsody. Okay, I get that. I mean, but then you have I'm in Love with My Car. Then you have Love of My Life. And you got You're My Best Friend. And then 39. And then you've got Seaside Rendezvous. And then, I mean, come on. Come on.
It's on my list.
Everything about it's just fantastically wonderful.
I love it, but,
Okay.
I love other things as well.
But it's not Meatloaf.
It's not me.
Okay, I'm not going to argue too much with you. Meatloaf was good. I had him at number 2. I just think Night at the Opera was just done. I mean, when I first heard it, it just blew my doors off.
Yeah.
I mean, everything about it was just, I mean, unbelievable. I mean, Queen, if
No, Queen's one of my favorites. I had to put that. That was the one I came down to. I had a couple of their albums on there, but that's the one I came down to.
Me too.
So,
I went through each one, and I love so many of their songs, but they're all spread out.
all through different albums. Exactly. Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's why it hit.
Well,
number 10
like I
for
say,
me.
that's my number one. So let's, now that I'm right and y'all are wrong, we shall move on. Chuck, who was your number
Number 2.
2?
Mine was from 1975. Toys in the Attic by Earl
Yes,
Smith.
oh,
That's my number 4.
that's my number 6.
No,
That
right.
was-
Look at us.
That was my first real introduction. Listening to my other older brother.
Yeah.
Toys in the Attic, Walk This Way, Sweet Emotion, Round and Round. I mean, just God.
Big
Earl-
10-inch record.
Yeah. Thank you.
Ba-da.
We got
Awesome.
yeah. It was just it was great. Aerosmith, another one of my all time favorites. Everything they've ever done, I've liked, but this is the one that started it all for me. So
Well, that's me too. I mean, I didn't really listen to much of their stuff before this album came out, and whenever it came out, and Walk This Way is probably one of my top. You put it top 5 for me. Top 5.
I'm that way with Sweet Emotion. I love this song.
It's decent enough.
So
Decent enough. You agree?
Oh yeah, it's on my list.
It's on the list. All right. Well, then we'll hang on one second here. Quick pause. And we're back. The guy in charge of sound, every now and then he's got to make sure things are right. Because if you didn't watch the last podcast, you wouldn't heard me explain that the podcast prior to that podcast, I didn't have the sound turned up. So it's hard to edit when you can't hear anything. But it
I didn't say anything.
wasn't my fault. Yeah. So anyway, we're back, and Tina, you were up to your number 2.
My number 2.
Number 2 is
I'm guess you guys probably already know this. Boston.
by Boston. That's my number 3. I'm not going to get to say anything exciting here.
Number 3.
Number 3, I bat out of hell and
Come on, man.
Queen and
Just like Paradise by Dashboard Light, every song on the album is incredible. It is if I'm stranded on a desert island with one CD, that's what I'm taking.
Love
it.
Cannot argue the point that is a fantastic, absolutely wonderful album. There's nothing wrong with it. There's every song just makes you get.
They have a sound of their own. A lot of people say, all their songs sound alike. But you know what? If that alike is all good, who cares? It's just good.
I agree.
You know?
You got it on your list.
They're on my honorable mention. I'm not a huge Boston fan. Sorry.
Oh my god!
I told y'all before this started we were going to have some
my
issues.
God!
Wow,
And
you bring in the young guy.
And when I
here.
put that on honorable mention, the first thing I thought was somebody's gonna be pissed off.
Oh
Somebody.
my god!
Everybody watching is probably
'Cause
going to be
I
pissed off.
knew y'all's feelings toward that
Wow.
one. I like it.
Honorable mention.
I like it, but
Wow.
it just
And see, this is really why
Wow.
this is why we started at number 1 and worked our
Little
way
before
down.
me.
Because the funner part's going to come between 10 and 15, where we really don't agree with each other
Yeah.
at all.
and I like Boston, but it's just not. I mean,
What do you find
It
wrong
did-
with it?
it didn't hit me. I guess I don't know. It just
Wow.
Well,
wasn't-
it's before my time too, but you
Yeah.
know, when I started listening to it, oh
Well,
my gosh,
you'll
it's-
notice
it-
you'll notice on some of mine, not all of them. Some of them, I'm a little heavier than what Boston was.
Quirky.
So
heavy stuff.
some of them's not, but yeah, I just wasn't. Yeah,
Wow.
I'll listen to
I
it.
wasn't expecting that. I figured it'd be at least in his top 10.
You're not getting dinner.
That's the point. That's
That's
just
it.
bullshit.
but that's okay. Come on
We
now.
match number one.
See?
Meatloaf's got to be worth something.
Well, that's true. He got number 1.
I gave you meatloaf next last time you were here.
Number 2.
You're good.
Okay. All right. So everybody's numbered. I had Meatloaf Bat Out of Hell at number 2.
Oh,
Okay. I had Boston at number 3. What'd you have at number 3, Chuck?
That's what I was telling you. Mine's a little harder. I got Dirty Deeds, AC/DC. Number 3.
I don't have any AC/DC on my list.
None.
Okay, you're not allowed to say a damn
Listen
word.
to me. Listen
Not
to
a
me.
word.
Listen to me. Listen
I
to me.
had one, but,
I'm
that must
not-
be my honorable
I
mention.
really didn't get into AC/DC until Brian Johnson showed up, and the first album of theirs is in 1980. I appreciate the Bon Scott stuff, but it just I never grabbed it until the 80s, and so I'm not going to be mentioned.
I've always been.
I love them, but
Dirty Deeds, Big Balls, Problem Child. I'm just yeah.
Well, I
was
can't
the stuff. That and Aerosmith were my two big ones at that time. It was hard to get it down, but yeah, they're my number 3.
well, I can't argue. I mean, the 70s they were potent, they were powerful. They had 4 or 5 albums
Yeah.
in the 70s.
No. Did
But-
they have that many?
Yeah.
I think they had 4.
Yeah, they had
I
4
think they had 4.
In the 70s?
Yeah, they had high voltage, Dirty
Okay.
Deeds. There's
Not
3 or
bad.
4,
Yeah.
but
Because I was looking at, Back in Black, and it was 80, I think.
yeah, it was 1980, and then
No.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
that was one of the ones I put down immediately and thought,
Yeah.
well,
Me too.
Yeah, it's
Had
19.
it's
to knock it
1980, and I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
They were all about 70. They were a 70s sound. They were that rock and heavy, what they called heavy at the time. But it's kind of gotten out of control since
Yeah,
then.
but you listen to stuff now.
Yeah, it's
like,
nothing. But yeah,
man, that's like mellow rock
Yeah,
now.
Exactly.
So yeah, no, that's my number 3.
Okay. Well,
Good choice.
My
Good
number
choice.
3. I say you've already said it. So what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Paranoid, Black Sabbath.
Okay, wait.
They are my number 9.
You did Dirty
Yep.
Deeds, right?
Yep.
And you got Paranoid, War Pigs, and Iron Man.
God, I love War Pigs.
And-
Come on, if it just had those 3 songs
you
on
did
it,
have
it would
this
still
number
be my
9.
number 3.
It was my number 9.
It was not on.
Shocker.
Are you kidding?
Wait a minute. It was an honorable mention.
I would certainly hope so.
Well, the reason it's on mine as an honorable mention is I didn't really get into the Black Sabbath sound until honestly my stepson, her son Derek, had a local band and they started playing several years ago. That's when I really started listening to it. When they started, covering it, then I would start listening to it, and I mean it's good. I'm just not a Black Sabbath guy. She knows this. She just wanted to yell at me on screen.
I still can't believe it.
I mean, I just didn't get into them in the 70s at all, so I can't put
That's
them on
what
my
I'm
list.
afraid of, that you're going to have like the Osmonds or
Hey, the
something like that
Osmonds
on
can rock.
yours.
I mean, that brings back.
I'm afraid.
The
Start having
Osmonds,
PTSD if you start talking about the Osmonds growing up.
I'm sorry, the Osmonds can rock. I
Swear
don't
to
care
God,
what
if
you
somebody
say.
says one bad apple,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna
Oh my God, here we
collapse.
go.
I'm gonna collapse on the ground.
Come on
Don't
now.
get him started.
Come on now. See, I can't sing lyrics.
The Lazy River.
So we're gonna have to move on.
I
there.
dare you not to sing it.
Well, we can't
Down
because
the Lazy
we
River.
might get dinged. I
The
can't
fact
sing.
that I know that was the Osmonds live double album just freaking worries me.
Awesome.
Because that's what I think I was.
Okay, so you're gonna go Paranoid Sabbath as
Hell
your.
yeah.
That was my number 9.
That was
Come
your.
on,
That was your
man.
number what? Number 3?
That's my number
Why don't you
3.
go
Come
first
on.
number 4 so you can talk about
Well,
something?
because I got Toys in the Attic, and you guys
did you?
already ruined that.
Okay.
What's your number 4?
My number 4 was Cosmos Factory by CCR.
I didn't put them
See,
on mine. They weren't
I-
hard enough for me.
I was gonna go with them,
Me too.
but I had the problem with me with CCR is that I had their Chronicles album in here, the greatest hits thing that came out in '76. Simply because all of their albums, I mean Cosmos and the Pendulum and Broke, all those. I mean, they broke up in '72, so there's not much after '70. But I didn't. All of their albums had just one song, maybe two songs that really caught me, and I didn't really get anything from them until it was all put together, and I could just listen to all of it.
Cosmos Factory had Traveling Band, Looking Out in the Back Door, Run Through the Jungle, Who'll Stop the Rain, Heard It Through the Grapevine. It was one of those that I loved that whole album.
Yeah, it was a good one. Like I said, I had them in the honorable mention section because they're good, but this didn't break the top 15.
Well, the way my brain works is I was thinking about them too, and then I was thinking about Proud Mary, and then I was like, oh, Ike and Tina Turner, Proud Mary. So I started looking it up, and I kind of forgot about CCR.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Well, I mean that's a good choice. I mean they're in my list somewhere. What do you got for number 4, babe?
I have Leonard Skinner.
Yes, that was
Leonard Skinner.
Yep, that was my number 12.
Freebird, Give Me 3 Steps. Simple
Again,
Man.
I had them as an honorable mention.
I'm coming, Elizabeth.
Well, you guys are just taking all the smoke away from me.
I cannot wait to see what you have
I want to know what we're
from 11 to 15.
You're going first for about 5 or 6
No
people.
kidding.
I wanna see
These
this yet.
people didn't live the '70s.
Oh my gosh. Are you
Okay,
kidding me? You
mean,
don't
come
even
on.
have Leonard Skinner. Leonard Skinner is the definition of rock in the 70s.
But that one album had a couple of tunes on it. Didn't have a full blown. The albums I have listed are those that I just destroyed the cassette because I played it so many times, and there's like multiple tunes on there that are grand, wonderful, fantastic, and that one just had a couple tunes on it. I mean, Freebird, okay, it's free. Got a lighter, Freebird, okay, I get it. It's a great song. It's awesome. It's part of the lexicon of the '70s. But the whole album, I can't say it's worthy of a top 15 for me.
I need my heart medication.
Speech.
I need a drink.
What number was it, Chuck, for you?
Mine was number 12.
12.
Y'all
I'm
both had
surprised
it.
was
Hey,
that
mine was
far
on the damn
down.
list at least.
Hey, yeah, but I'm still surprised it was that far down. Good night.
I didn't think you guys would fall into the commercial of the old things here. Now, okay, I can finally say something.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
I'm going to number 5. I'm up. I can do one now.
Yeah,
All right.
Let's hear this.
Number
Hear
5.
this wisdom.
Yeah.
Queen. Jazz.
I went with one Queen album. I didn't.
If I was going to pick another Queen, it would be Jazz.
Yes,
Fat Bottom
Bicycle
Girl.
Race, Fat Bottom Girl, Don't Stop Me Now, Dreamers
Yeah.
Mall, Fun It. This album.
I didn't want to duplicate.
Well, I didn't either, but this album is so good because I mean there were others between Night of the Opera and this is whenever they came. This is whenever they came back and okay, we're changing it. We're doing this. We're adding a little bit. We're doing a little bit more here, and yes, I just love the album.
It's a great album. I ain't gonna deny it.
No, it's a good one.
Well, it's one of those.
But I'm sorry, you can't bump Leonard Skinner for Jazz. For Queen.
Said a little closer to the microphone.
You can't bump
Right.
Leonard Skinner
Well,
for a duplicate band.
Let me see. Yeah, I did. I bumped them.
Well, we'll talk later.
5 or 6 great tunes to a Leonard Skinner album that had 2. One of them was Freebird, which is 25 minutes long.
So that counts as 3.
That
So you're
counts.
fine.
So it's okay. So that's my number 5, Queen, Jazz. What do you got number 5, Chuck?
Hotel California.
I was going to put that in there as well. It's a great album. However,
And I'm not a big Eagles fan, but that's the one album that I will listen to.
well, I think it's a great album.
That's a good idea.
It was in my. I mean, it should be in my honorable mention. It was in my list of the top 15 till I started ticking things off. So, what about you?
My number 5 is Led Zeppelin 4.
That's number 13 for me.
Oh my gosh, you made the list. I'm so proud of you.
We had a discussion before we came out here and did this, and there was a couple bands I refused to put on my list. Led Zeppelin would be one of them. I do not like Led Zeppelin. I never have liked them. I don't understand it. I don't care.
Okay.
I don't like them.
Do you want to go before I go?
Go.
Take shots at me. I don't
I'm
care.
not. I'm not. I'm
I'm
honestly not going to take a shot. The only reason I put Zeppelin on here, on that album, is because during the big rock time when Zeppelin was all of this and all of that, I didn't get it. I didn't get it. I was with you. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. It was just another band that got up there and screamed and whatever. Then later on in the 70s, in my high school years, 77, 78, 79, when did this thing come out?
I was 7.
This came out in 71.
I was
and
1.
Yeah, 77, 78 in my high school. And then they started playing it in, I was in the band and we started playing it. And I mean, Black Dog and then, Rock and Roll and, of course, Stairway to Heaven's on there. And then that's why it made my list. I got on board late, but here's the big but. I go back and listen to other Zeppelin tunes and it doesn't do a lot for me.
I've tried. There's
this one,
I like Black Dog.
That one did.
I like Black Dog, but honestly, probably one of the only ones I like. I just never.
Your comment?
Just not a Zeppelin person.
I'm just speechless.
Just not a Zeppelin person.
You had it at number 5?
I got it at number 5.
Yeah, I had it at number 13.
Yeah. I knew that would be an issue, but
it got bumped down.
Yeah.
I had it higher than that.
There's another one that I refuse to put on there that I'm probably going to eat.
Okay, I
got a couple too that I'm sure he has.
Have you done number 5?
That was number 5 for me.
That was my Hotel California was number 5.
Number 5. Okay, well,
What you
my
got?
number 5 is Queen. So let's start with number 6. What do you got number 6, babe?
Number 6, I had Toys in the Attic.
There you go.
Okay. Yep.
I have got Pearl by Janis Joplin.
I almost put that on my list.
I have that.
I absolutely love Janis Joplin.
I had that at number 11, actually.
Yeah. Nope. That was Bobby McGee, Mercedes-Benz,
Well,
Half Moon, Crybaby.
It was.
Janis is just awesome to me.
That would definitely be an honorable mention. It
Yeah.
probably would have been on here.
Well, it was
if I
released in
hadn't thought about it.
1970,
It was a 70.
and she died 3 months later or
Right,
whatever.
yeah.
But it was that's the only album of hers that I.
Yes, that's the only one but it's got the ones I
Well,
like.
it's just her
100%.
style, her sound.
Yeah.
That particular one, I bought it after I
Yeah.
bought it on cassette when I was 5,
Yeah,
6 years later.
I had her
but-
farther
Sure you
down on
didn't
the
have
list.
it on 8-track?
No, it was on cassette actually. Hey, see if you took another shot at me there. Yeah,
I had her farther down on my list, but as I
had some
kept going,
right.
I had to keep pulling it.
Well, it's a great.
absolutely
Well,
love it.
the object of this thing is great albums, and that is a great album.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
a great album.
It is.
But like a lot of '60s music, there's just so much of it that's just to me.
Yeah, I don't
And
like
then-
a lot of that stuff.
And a lot of the early
Jimi
things.
Hendrix
Well,
and
the early
Hendrix,
things that she did were just kind of all over the place
Right.
for me, and that
Yeah.
was. I had to put it in there.
Yeah.
I just had to. So, all
I
right,
should have.
number
I
6.
feel terrible about myself.
Now, here's why I don't have Hotel California in here, that album, because I put Eagles' Greatest Hits at number 6.
Ding, ding, ding. It's number 7 for me.
And the reason I went with I didn't want to go with Greatest Hits albums, but I really didn't start paying attention to the Eagles until I heard this Greatest Hits album. And then I went back and found the other albums individually,
Same here.
but my gosh.
And it was released in 76.
Yes.
So, they
Yes.
had that many
Yes.
awesome hits from 71 to 75.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's I put the greatest hits too, just because
Yeah.
it's incredible.
They're-
And I'm like Chuck. I like the Eagles, but
Right.
I'm not a huge fan.
right.
But the songs that are on there, I like.
Yeah.
So
Well, they're so good. Every song. And some folks don't consider them rock. Some folks consider them,
right.
I don't know, contemporary or country. Even when they first started, they backed up.
Yeah,
Linda
there's
Ronstadt
a
and
thin
all
line there.
But
for some
I
of their
tell you
songs.
what, but when they're just so good. I mean, everything. And the Greatest Hits album, I only put it in there because that's when I really started paying attention to who they were. So, all right, that's everybody's number 5. That was my number 6. What's your number 6?
I already said my number 6 was Toys in the Attic,
Ah,
and your Eagles was number 7.
Okay.
So
Well, what was number 7?
I had the Eagles' greatest hits.
Okay, and you've already done number 7?
No, I have not done number 7.
Oh God, do we want to hear?
Oh, I gotta hear it.
Yeah,
What
you
is
did.
it?
Yeah,
What
you
is
did.
it?
Hair of the Dog, Nazareth.
I had it, and then I tossed it.
It should have been my honorable mention too. I didn't
Well,
make it.
but there again, there's only 2 songs on there I really gave a shit about, so
What?
it didn't do
Really?
anything for me. Didn't do anything for
Hair of
me.
the Dog, Miss Misery, Changing Times. Whiskey drinking woman, Love Hurts. You only like 2 of those?
Love Hurts and Hair of the Dog.
Okay.
That's
All
it.
the same thing.
You're not gonna support me or back me up on
Nope, I got a cough though.
Yeah, they're my number 7.
That's just not nice.
Yep.
Well, I mean, it's a great It's a good album, but it's not. It doesn't make 15. There's not enough on it
See,
for me.
for me, that was one of the albums that I could listen to the entire one.
Right.
I can listen to that entire album and
that.
Oh, I understand that.
And that's fair.
like every one of
100%.
those. Yeah.
So that was what number for
7.
you? And we did your number 7.
Yes, sir.
Well, my number 7 is Steve Miller Band, Book of Dreams.
All right. I've got a Steve Miller Band on my bed. It's not
Me
Book of
too.
Dreams.
Jungle Love, Jet Airliner, Swingtown, The Steak. It was just, I played that until I actually broke the cassette. So
Yeah.
I
I like Steve Miller.
everything about that was just good.
Yeah.
Just another. Well, it was after I got into the Eagles thing with the guitar band things, and then these guys, Steve Miller's just. I mean, anybody's never seen Steve Miller, go check him out on. He looks like the guy that's working at the Circle K down the street. Not flashy, not pop, no big. What they got up there and they just played their asses off, and everything they played was good.
Yeah.
And
Always liked them.
he surrounded himself with great musicians, and I mean, just the album itself, it just blew me away.
Yeah.
So.
Can't argue with that one. That one's a good one.
All right, let's go number 8.
Number 8.
What do you got?
Me, I have Van Halen. Van Halen.
That was my number 10.
That's my number 8.
1978.
That's my number 8 as well.
All right.
There you go.
Look at
And
us.
like I said, my number 10. So, yeah.
Running with the devil.
Running with
You
the
really
Devil.
got me. Jamie's crying. And then Eruption.
Oh, Eruption at the very beginning.
Eruption.
You know.
I mean,
on one that didn't get a lot of play that I liked was On Fire. I liked that one.
I mean, how do you? I mean, think of another debut album where the beginning is that. I mean, this
Everybody's introduction to Eddie Van Halen.
Like,
And
holy
just-
hell,
I mean,
that's guitar playing.
I like the Ice Cream Man. I think that's
Yeah.
that was that gave me a little bit like the Night at the Opera thing. There's so many different quirky little things on that. When that came on, that when you heard that, whoa,
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that was an introduction. Now, after that, of course, I've never a fan of David Lee Roth. He got worse and worse as they went on. Then
But
then
he
again,
was-
But he was David Lee Roth.
he
Yeah.
was.
They
He
wouldn't
was.
be Van Halen for all those years without him.
Yeah, well, then
He's
you
incredible.
hear all the stories about him and all the turmoil. I'm surprised they didn't
Kill each
Yeah.
other.
get rid of him earlier.
True.
but
But
anyway,
look what he gave him.
I
I mean,
know.
come on,
Yeah.
man.
No.
he was,
That's one of the closest we've been on one, isn't it?
I
All three of
think.
us?
I was
Other than Meatloaf.
I was number
Yeah.
8. She was number 8.
Hey,
I was number 10.
Do you have a new 8?
No, my number 8 was Night at the Opera.
Okay,
Queen.
well then I'll start with number 9 then. I got Fleetwood Mac, Rumors.
I have Fleetwood Mac
Yep.
Rumors at number 11.
I do too. That was my number 11 also.
That's probably in the history of albums, in the history of bands, it's probably the most badass album simply because these people don't like each other. They all,
yeah.
according to Rumors, they all slept with
together.
each other one way or another. And then they wrote songs in this album, if you listen to the words, that they say they hate each other.
About each other.
And then they all got in there and sung them like in this one of the greatest albums ever. And I mean that's just badass all the way down.
I agree.
I
It was
mean-
close to not making my list because it's not as heavy rock as,
Right.
that you would really think. But
Sure.
I mean, that's the one for them, for
Well,
me.
they're just. I mean, the entire album though. You can't.
It
It's
is.
like the Boston album for me. You can't. You could pick that up and put it to a different selection and always know the song. It
Yeah.
was just so good.
Good stuff.
And that's back when Stevie could sing and Lindsey Buckingham could sing and
Good times.
Christine. I mean, golly, the whole band. Everything was just great.
Yeah. Nope. I like them. I'm not a huge Fleetwood Mac person, but that album I can listen to.
Okay.
That's one of the ones I can listen
Okay. Do anybody else have something different on number 9?
I had the Steve Miller's Greatest Hits on number 9.
Let's see. Yeah.
So, it's got all the ones that you mentioned, plus, Take Your Money and Run,
Right.
Fly Like an
Joker.
Eagle, Swingtown,
The Joker.
Airliner.
The band is just that good.
And what's really funny, when I was a kid and listening to them, I didn't know all of these songs was the Steve Miller Band.
Right.
And then one time I listened to Greatest Hits, and I was like, I don't know.
to. You didn't know that was
I
him.
didn't
yeah.
know they sang
Yeah,
that.
that was him.
They
Yeah.
sang that.
Yep.
And so
Yeah.
they just have so many great songs. And, this was released in 78. So, to me, it fits the criteria.
Yeah. Nope. Agreed.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I would have gone with the greatest hits album, but Book of Dreams everything about it. All right, so that's your number 9. You got a 9, Chuck?
No, my 9 was Paranoid.
Okay. Well, number 10.
My 10 was Night at the Opera.
No, my 10 was Van Halen. So
10 was Night at the Opera.
And Queen's one of my favorite groups. My favorite bands. I'm sorry. Queen is one of my favorite bands. But
should have been higher than number 10.
Hey, like I said, all of their great songs, they have so many albums.
They do.
And there's a great 1 or 2 on every single album. And so,
Right, I got you.
Night at the Opera did make my list.
And see, I got down there. My number 10 is something we haven't mentioned yet.
Oh.
And it's another greatest hits album. Again, that I really didn't pay attention to this band until the greatest hits album. And then I just, my God, where have they been my whole life? And it's the Doobie Brothers' greatest hits.
Yep.
I can't believe that I forgot that band. Because that's one of my favorite bands.
Yeah, that's my number 12.
She forgot the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
That just shows you how good the 70s were.
Yeah. I'm going to have to bump one of mine.
Yeah. I had that
Doobie
number
Brothers
12
on.
Long train running, and China Grove are two of my.
Listen to the music. Blackwater, rocking down the highway.
I got it. I have the CD in my car.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I
have 2 CDs in my car. That and Meatloaf.
I had. Was it Tualaw Street or whatever it's called?
Tualaw.
Yeah. I had that one listed.
I had it down too.
But there's like only 2 or 3 of them on there. Then I got to thinking, it didn't have this. It didn't have China Grove. I need China Grove.
I had Captain to Me on there because it had China Grove and Long Train Running. Then I saw
nothing else.
I was like,
what year was the greatest hits released?
76.
6?
Yeah. Nope.
And so I mean, it had to. It's just I had to put them in there because
wow.
Love Doobie Brothers.
All right.
Me too.
Okay, do y'all have a number 10 we haven't spoken about?
I don't. Mine was Rumors.
What do you got?
Night at the Opera.
Yep.
My 11 was Janis Joplin. What's yours?
My 11 was Rumors.
I'm going to get hate for this.
Okay.
Because they're not a great band.
He's going to say Led Zeppelin 1.
I get it. They're not a great band. But for me, at that time, I liked it. Kiss Destroyer.
That's what I got.
All right. Good.
Yes.
I figured I'd catch some grief over being Kiss.
Kiss Destroyer?
Man,
yes.
Destroyer.
Which one was on Destroyer?
Detroit Rock City, God of Thunder.
Shout it out loud.
Shout it out loud.
Okay.
Come on, man.
Okay.
Okay, good. I thought I was going to get some help for picking Kiss.
The thing about it is, Kiss is the 70s.
Yeah.
Exactly. They are the poster child.
I have a
of the
Kiss
70s
album
rock.
I have one on my list. But yeah, I mean, yeah.
Good stuff.
I loved Kiss.
Yes.
And they catch a lot of grief and
Yes,
whatever
they
do, but
Hey.
there was 2 or I had like 3 of them on my list, and I had to just get down to the one the Kiss Alive albums were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I loved that. I loved it.
No.
So, but yeah, they're my.
I got no worry. I actually had
good. There we go.
Destroyer on my list, and then I had to get rid of it.
There we go. Good.
All right. Do you have a number 11?
That was my 11.
Mine, I said Rumors, but 12 was Destroyer for me.
Hell yes.
Well, I've got a different number 12 that y'all have not mentioned
go.
yet, and it is Van Morrison Moondance.
Thought about it, but thought it wasn't hard rock enough for me.
Well, he's the slower rock and roll kind of guy. I mean, he's got some stuff that gets after it, but you got Into the Mystic and Crazy Love and It's Stone Me and Moon. He's more of the bluesy thing like Janis Joplin, but he can't get after it in there. He's got some great harmonica stuff.
Yes.
But he's one of those guys that's played on classic rock just because I guess his time that he came from. Brown-Eyed Girl, and
that's to me that's probably the
That's the
rockiest
song.
rock.
That's
that
the only
he
one.
has.
He wasn't. I
me,
didn't
that's
consider him rock. So.
I only had to put.
pop.
He only ended up on my list because
you
again,
like pop.
I played the crap out of it, and he was on classic rock station.
You liked pop, honey babe. It's okay.
I do.
You can admit it.
I'm a pop guy.
If they,
Yeah.
Certain pop,
Nope.
not all pop.
No, didn't make my list.
I mean, nah.
No lying.
Most of the '70s pop. I mean, seriously.
I know. I live with you. for 25 years.
Hey, Tony Orlando and Dawn are awesome. Okay,
Good thing I didn't eat any lunch.
So if we do a 70s pop, I'll be doing it all.
You ever get the feeling that maybe you married the wrong McNeil?
No.
I mean, do you ever think about
I'm
that?
the man.
Bro.
I'm the man. Okay, we moved to number. That was what, 11?
I had Destroyer for 12. What'd you have?
That was my 11.
Do you have a 12 that we haven't talked about?
No, my 12 was the Doobie Brothers.
Okay, I got 13 was Zeppelin for me. What do you got?
Hey. I have Running on Empty by Jackson Brown.
I almost had that on mine. I like Jackson Brown. Yep.
Running on Empty, love the Loadout and Stay, and those are kind of the same song, Loadout / Stay.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
That was a great, another great one that you just put on.
And but then again, see,
he has that kind of voice.
Yeah, I'd put him in the Van Morrison level, where it's just maybe not rock, but maybe not pop, right there at that little level.
No, I put him a little bit harder than Van Morrison.
Yeah, he was on my initial list. I just got bumped.
I could just see Van Morrison tearing up a guitar on stage, but Jackson Brown would just,
And I know people don't like him because of, he had some rocky past, but
well, that's a nice way to put it.
I'm
Vince McMahon had a rocky past too.
I'm not into the cancel culture. Okay, I can separate their personal life from their music.
He is good
for what it is.
From their artistry and their personal life. To me, they're two different things. So if you don't like it, oh well.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, the guy's good.
Nice. I almost had it. Yes.
I had it, but he fell off the list pretty quick.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't have Van Morrison and Jackson Brown, because then they'd really make fun of me.
Yes.
You're correct.
Do you have a 13?
My number 13, Head Games, Foreigner.
Oh, let me say Foreigner, but I like Foreigner 4, and when we do the 80s, it'll be on my list.
Exactly.
See, you can't sit there. You go. If you can't sit down and enjoy Dirty White Boy,
I know it by heart.
Exactly.
Head
17, Head Game, Blinded by Science, Women.
Really didn't get into Foreigner till the 80s, and so I'm with you. It's a good album, but just didn't crack my top 15.
Yep.
Nope.
Yep.
Do you have a 14 we haven't talked about?
I do, and y'all will probably make fun of me on this.
Well, we need to
about time.
Go for it.
I have Infinity by Journey.
Okay, they're my honorable mentions.
I love Journey. I'm sorry, I do, and there's nothing that you can say to
they were on my honorable mentions.
Except Don't Stop Believing.
But you can wait till next time.
I turn it off every time I hear it.
Do all the Journey you want.
Well, trust me, I will.
You had to read them into the 70s too?
I will. We'll be on my 80s as well.
I'm not a huge Journey guy. Wheel in the Sky, I really like.
Yep, that's on that album.
Yeah, that's what kind of made it. That's why it was honorable mention for me. It's just I'm not a huge Journey guy, but I like some of their stuff.
I like Walks Like a Lady, and that's about it.
What?
I don't even know what that is. So.
You've never heard that?
Not that I recall.
You people.
I'm trying to think.
I've never done a deep dive into Journey. So
wow.
I don't know.
I'm sure I know it if
play
I heard
it for
it.
you when we get down here and show you guys what you've been.
Can hardly wait.
No, I. Wow. Okay. Don't like hearing that. But no, I'm not a Journey guy, but it's okay. That's okay.
It was number 14.
That's why we're doing it.
What's your top 10?
What's your 14?
Oh, yeah. Well, my number 14 was Breakfast in America by Supertramp.
Again, another one I thought about.
Yep. I thought about it too.
Another one I owned.
Yep.
But didn't make the cut.
Take the Long Way Home and Goodbye Stranger.
Yeah.
Good song.
That's why it was number 14. It was like one of those ones I debated on getting into the list or not, but I listened to it a ton.
Right.
I mean, it came out in 79.
Yeah.
So right when I was really, really getting into more and more music, and so I really.
That's fair. Yeah. I mean, my 14 was my Kiss choices, the Alive 2 album.
Yeah.
It was I played that till it died, because it just had all of them, all the hits, and they're not exactly true vocalists.
Yeah, not musical geniuses by any stretch. But
I don't like live albums as I like studio versions much better. But that one,
Osmond,
it didn't. He just couldn't leave me alone. He won't leave me alone. This is great. I'm not a live album guy much, but that album is.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Oh my. Okay, now we're doing our final one that made the cut. All right, Chuck.
It was tough.
Chuck, what's number 15?
My last one was Steve Miller Band, but it was the Fly Like an Eagle album.
Oh,
Another good album.
Good choice.
Another good one.
Take the Money and Run, Rockin' Me, Fly Like an Eagle. Yeah. Sweet Marie. Yeah.
Another good choice.
Yeah.
Very, very good choice.
Okay. There you go.
Me?
Oh, sorry. You're
Want me to do mine?
You're leading the show.
Yeah, I'm not doing a very good job.
Go for it.
Keep making fun of it. My number 15 is Bob Seger, Stranger in Town.
That's the one. I got it.
Come on, Hollywood.
I knew.
Old time rock and roll. Feel like a number. Come on. Bob Seger was he was the 70s Bruce Springsteen. He was just the everyday average guy. He went out there, played his music. Good stuff. You don't like him.
I like some of his stuff. I mean, not enough to make my list, but it's like hit and miss.
He's come on.
You'll Accompany Me.
Way down number 15.
Old-time rock and roll and that kind of stuff. I like.
I'd rather go to the dentist.
Turn the page. It's just
Find
awesome.
an album, so yeah.
Fantastic. It's like, what's your
So overplayed.
what's your number 15?
My number 15 is Let It Be by the Beatles.
And that, folks, would be the other band that I was refused to put on my list.
Well, they
Just
had
not the beat.
on this album,
Not a
Let
Beatles
It
fan.
Be, The Long and Winding Road, and Get Back.
Well, the thing about
So-
that, I think wasn't that their last studio album
I
before
believe it.
Yoko tore down the house?
Yeah, well, that's another.
It's
It's another
nothing wrong with it. It's a
podcast.
good album. I mean, nothing wrong with
But
it at
those
all.
are three of my favorite all-time Beatles songs. So, I just got lucky that they were on the same album, and it was in 1970.
Well, and it was. I think it might have been their last studio album too. Could have been. Well, this was a hard list to do.
It was hard.
There was tons of them. I mean, I got a couple of honorable mentions here.
Have you got anybody that just barely missed? Because I only got one. I had some honorable mentions that you already talked about. I have one more left.
Well, I had one that barely missed, and it's another greatest hits album because they had so many other albums before that had one hit, or ones, and it was ELO's greatest hits.
I thought about
definitely.
I wanted to put them on this list so bad.
I thought about them too, but I couldn't find an album that was
exactly there wasn't one that just jumped at me and stood out. But boy, that you hit that greatest hits, and it's got it's got
I agree.
Turn to Stone, Telephone Line, Sweet Talking Woman, Evil Woman, Mr. Blue Guy. I mean, they're
incredible.
Again,
I like it.
okay. What else? Well, I got a couple more. What do you got?
The only other one I have that has not been touched on was In Color by Cheap Trick.
Oh, I thought about it.
I thought about Budokan. I really did. It's that live album thing again.
See, In Color's got. I know they only had I think 3 songs from there that were really good, but I Want You to Want Me is one of my favorites.
One of my favorites too.
Well, let me.
I just
That came on when I'm at work. I just run a loop and it just plays. I had never heard the studio version of that song, and it's not that good.
Oh, really?
It's the live version that's really
that's the
good.
live version is what I.
The studio version is slower. It's.
I just remember listening to it. I just remember listening to it as a kid,
I've
thinking,
never
"Man,
heard
that
the
is."
studio.
I haven't either. I've always just listened to the live. I just remember listening to it.
Yeah.
When I was younger and thinking, "That's a very cool sound." I loved it. I loved it, and
right.
I love Cheap Trick.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
They're one of my
Yeah, but they're another one that you look at all their albums and they all have like 1 or 2 songs. That's
Yes.
That's all they've got on the album. So, that was one of mine that barely missed because this wasn't enough on the album. But
and that's what I said about the Queen albums when they came out. They were from top. I mean, they might have had only 1 or 2 hits that actually hit the radio or whatever, but the whole album is worthy of listening to.
Right.
And there's so few of them out there like that. Do you have anything honorable mention wise?
No, pretty much what y'all had on your list would have been in my honorable mention.
Well, there were other bands. I looked at Kansas. Kansas
did
had
too.
2 or 3 decent albums, but nothing that had tremendous numbers on there.
I looked at them. I looked at BTO. I almost put.
Yeah.
They had a couple, but they only had a few that I just couldn't pinpoint anything. So.
I looked at Blue Oyster Cult. Same thing.
Deep Purple. I looked at Deep Purple.
Yeah, there were a lot of them.
Yeah.
That you could get one of those, the best of the 70s.
Right.
And it had all of their, great hits on them back then.
Well, I tried really, really hard to put his ZZ Top album on here.
You know,
I figured you would have had one actually.
But
I had one on there. I had the Guello or whatever it was. I had that one on there, but I had to take it off the list. It wasn't quite there.
Well, it just wasn't. Yeah, it just wasn't there. But see, they were another 70s band that really didn't get up there until the 80s.
To the 80s.
And then
they'll be on my 80s list.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I mean, there's several that are going to be on the 80s list because I almost put another Eagles album on here. The Long Run came out in '79, and I loved that album.
We're going to have to do like a top 20 on the 80s.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to put The Long Run because it was '70s, but I already got the great. I didn't want to waste another spot for the Eagles again, but you got Heartache Tonight, The Long Run. I can't tell you why. In the City. I mean, my gosh, that album was just. Yeah. But it was the Eagles. It was the Eagles continuing to do what they do.
And I tell you what surprised me, I was really expecting you to go with Chicago.
I don't like Chicago.
Well,
I was really expecting to be a Chicago in there somewhere.
Chicago.
Well, you know,
after Peter Cetera.
Yeah. You go.
He ruined Chicago.
A lot of the early Chicago was great.
That's good. Why I know you liked it, and so I was expecting to have at least one on there.
But it was kind of like the Doobie Brothers. Whenever they started letting Michael McDonald do all the singing, it just went here all the way down so fast.
Yeah,
and I just
the Peter Cetera stuff it was just.
I'm the same with Van Halen. Once David Lee Roth was gone, I just
it was just different.
Lost my interest.
Yep, agreed.
But 70s were a fantastic time as far as music is concerned.
Of course, Chuck and I listened to it further down because we were
younger.
Much younger.
Don't much my ass. You weren't much younger.
I was much younger.
You were born in '68, so by the time you were 10, it was what?
You just told everybody how old I am.
Yeah, I did. And so in '78,
you're not supposed to do that to women.
You were 10.
Are you freaking kidding me?
And so what you did? Okay, so we'll see.
I was born in '70, so
you're riding the couch tonight, buddy.
Okay.
You and all the dogs.
No, we all can't fit them. Yeah, Henry will come join me.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's it. That's our 70s take on 70s. 70s take on 70 albums and our take on the albums of the 70s.
Rock albums of the 70s.
Hey, when was Pink Floyd The Wall released?
It don't matter.
No,
Good.
It doesn't.
I was going to say
not nearly high enough to watch it and enjoy it.
I would just, so it might be an 80s when I can talk about
I don't know. I think The Wall was the 70s.
There was some Elvis albums I almost put in.
I thought about Elvis, but I thought,
Elvis.
It's not gonna.
Just not.
He's the king of rock and roll.
I understand. If we want to do on the 50s or the 60s, we'll throw him in there. But come on, man.
All right, so y'all are down for an 80s cover here?
Heck yeah.
I'm down for any generation except for this one.
Me too.
Well,
no, I could do this one.
I don't even think they make any albums.
I can't.
Yeah, they do. Come on, man.
You mean?
I'd have to research for a while.
You mean rock albums? Or
yes.
Do they do rock now?
Yes.
I don't know.
You're stuck, dude.
I am. I'm stuck in the 70s.
We need to move you forward.
Well, I do listen to some. She does make me listen to some stuff.
I think we need to start doing some reaction videos.
I tried, and that's when I ruined the computer, and I couldn't get any sound. I'll keep trying. We'll try to do some reaction videos. Let me try to work on that and see if we can get some reactions on here, and I'll make that kind of a goal.
There you go.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be good.
Goals are good.
Anyway, we appreciate you coming by. Like, comment,
subscribe,
comment to prove I'm right.
Yeah. Come on, you Journey fans.
Journey. Good God.
All 10 of you.
Tell them what Zeppelin need to be way up there where I had them.
Zeppelin is...
And Sabbath.
No,
come on.
Zeppelin, if you did the bands of 1972, you could put Zeppelin, but the entire 70s, nah. Nope.
Well.
They made my list.
Okay.
Anyway, we're rambling. We appreciate you coming by. Comment, like,
subscribe.
I always forget that
word.
word.
Forget to subscribe.
Do come back in and see us next time. We'll do some 80s next time, and we do our regular cast as we go. Just like us, enjoy what you see. I hope. We'll talk to you soon.
Comment.
Yeah, what she said.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see you.